Howdy, tribe. For those of you who have been following Minimalist Monday, you know that the drive of the series, or the intended drive of that series, was to ultimately build the best backpacking setup I could for Jax and I to enjoy a long-term visit into the woods. I didn't really have a duration in mind, but I wanted to make sure that I had quality equipment that could take care of her and I for extended period. If we were caught out there or were deep in the bush and just weren't able to get back quickly, we actually had to stay out there, good equipment that I know I could rely on to actually keep us alive and ultimately sustain us happily for a large period of time. However, the reality of the situation is that like 99.9% of my hikes aren't these long-term adventures where I go backpacking deep into the woods and stay off the grid for weeks. The reality of the situation is most of my hikes are short little day hikes around the property or the house that we have in Colorado, and rarely am I more than perhaps a mile away from the house. So the real question is, why is it when I have spent years agonizing over my minimalist backpacking setup for a long-term duration in the woods, why is it that I have never really directed my focused attention to the day pack when considering my normal usage and experience out in the woods is primarily a day or less and fairly close to home? It seems like EDC and a good day pack should have been my first and foremost thought. But I don't really have a good excuse for you. I don't really know why I've never really focused on EDC and or putting together a really good, reliable day pack. However, I have recently realized the error of my ways due to a trip to Montana, which you guys are probably aware of. And while we were on that trip, Jax and I went for a hike, and I was kind of caught my pants down, so to speak. And the situation really made me realize how under-equipped I am for that particular type of scenario. And like I said, considering how it is the most common type of scenario where I'll just go on a short hike into the woods, it's really made me realize that I need to redirect my focus onto the importance of having a good day pack, just in case while I'm, in the woods and not intending to be out there for a long time, if something bad does go wrong, I still have the basic tools I need to survive. So, I digress. Yeah, the story that I was hoping to share with you guys today just took place a couple weeks ago while we were outside of Missoula studying real estate opportunities there and trying to get a lay of the land to see if Montana would be a good substitute for Colorado, since we have since kind of turned our back on that path and are looking for greener pastures. And while we were there, we decided that we were going to go for a nice day hike just into some of the trails there beside Missoula, and the path that we chose was really trodden, very heavily trafficked. There were a lot of people, at least at the beginning of that trail. And so we decided to go for a few hours up into the mountain, and finally when we got to the point where we really weren't seeing people anymore, we thought it would be fun to go off trail for a little bit, just a little ways, I don't know, like 100 yards or something, maybe less, just to see what it would be like in the woods there and get a feel for what we could maybe expect once we do move to Montana, if we do end up moving to Montana, I should say. And one thing that immediately became apparent while we were there in the woods is that unlike the forest that we're used to back in the Colorado Rockies, the woods in Montana are far bigger, far denser, they have far more undergrowth, and it's a lot harder to really get a good, clear sense of visibility within the woods. You're a lot more closed in. It's a lot more kind of I don't know, like overbearing almost. And I know in Colorado, when I'm hiking, I never really got that sense of feeling kind of lost or not being able to get a good sense of my bearings. There's a lot less undergrowth. It's a lot easier to see, and it's a lot easier for me to get a sense of my direction there. That being said, also, I was very familiar and very accustomed to the land in Colorado, especially the land around our house. And so maybe that's why I've historically been cavalier about having a day pack and hadn't really seen the importance of it. But when we were on this hike, like I said, off trail, it was way, way denser than anything that I was accustomed to seeing. And we were only off trail for a couple minutes, just relaxing and taking it all in and trying to imagine ourselves there in Montana. And when we finally decided to go back and get on trail, we started walking back in the direction that we had thought we had come from. Again, it was sort of a gray, cloudy day, and we couldn't really get a good bearing of the sun or anything. But as we started walking back, we traveled for a couple minutes, and we both had that kind of moment of panic where we got to the point where we thought we should have stumbled upon the trail, and yet the trail wasn't there. And so we kept moving on a little bit further, and a couple more minutes passed, and I guess we must have taken a roundabout turn because we did finally intersect back into the trail, but it clearly was not the path that we had taken when we had departed the trail just to step off into the woods for a little bit. And this really, this experience really humbled me. You know, I guess I've been really lucky in my life that having been Cavalier in Colorado, I never got caught in a bad situation. But in Montana, just a couple feet off the trail, it really showed me how easy it was to get lost and get turned around and kind of lose sense of your bearings there. And furthermore, something else that had occurred to me, of course we didn't see any bears, but I do know every time we would go for a walk there while we were in Montana, all the trailheads have these signs warning against bears. Now, of course, we didn't have a gun with us, we didn't have bear mace, we really had no form of self-defense. All I really had with me on this hike was a the smallest size camelback that they make, with some water and like a couple granola bars. So, you know, if something bad had happened, we would have been okay for, you know, a little bit of time. But man, if night had set in and we still hadn't found the trail, I hate to imagine the kind of situation we could have found ourselves in. So in the wake of that experience, I have kind of started to rethink my minimalist approach a little bit, and I am going to take a break from the primary Minimalist Monday series in order to focus on these day packs that I've put together from pieces that I've been able to pull from around our home, just random bits of gear and packs that we've had sitting around, and some mushroom hunting kits that I've built for my parents. I wanted to cannibalize other pieces that I had around the house and not tear into my primary backpack kit. That way I could still have my long-term kit and my day packs set up, so that when Jax and I want to go into the woods for our short trips, we don't have to be sorting through pieces and reorganize. We can just grab our packs and go. So, with that in mind, the next installment of Minimalist Monday, I'm going to tear into these bags and show you what I've been able to collect and pull together for our day packs, so that next time I'm in Montana and go for a day hike, I won't be in the same situation that I found myself in this last time, and will be far more prepared and far more confident in my ability to take care of myself and my wife should something, or under the awful circumstance that something does go wrong. So yeah, I think that basically does it for this week, but next week please be sure to tune in and give us a watch, as I'm going to be tearing these bags open, and I would really love to get your all's opinion to see if there's anything that I'm missing or any other recommendations you guys can think of that I can quickly and easily add to my day pack. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay safe out there.